Explain to us kind of what you do, because you're the COO of the company.
Yeah, so I'm our vice president of sales, so I oversee all of our national efforts outside of California. So we've expanded pretty dramatically nationwide. We get calls nationwide, connect injury victims to local attorneys in all 50 states. It was started by Marianne in 1984. She was 19 years old at the time.
Wow.
So she was court translator and just saw just a lack of access to justice within the Hispanic community, and just saw an unmet need, and they didn't have a voice, and just begin working with local attorneys to give them a voice, and then that same mission has expanded over the last 40 years. So work with about 350 firms across the country.
But are you guys concentrated? And so a lot of people don't know what happens is, most lawyers are not good at the business of law. They're not good at the operations. They're not good at marketing themselves. And that's kind of where your company fits that, fills that gap for a lot of lawyers. When you say 350 law firms nationwide, I mean, is it state specific? Like, how do you guys operate that? Because a lot of laws are different for law firms and consumers.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
Yeah, we deal mainly with motor vehicle accidents. What we find is we get about 30,000 calls a week into our call center.
30,000 a week?
30,000 calls a week into our call center. And that's all across the country. And not everyone will have a valid claim, but those that do, we want to make sure that they have a voice and someone local who they can be transferred to. And that's really what we do. And a lot of it too, a lot of these people probably wouldn't contact an attorney if they didn't call us. And from a law firm's perspective, it's unbranded. It's not delving into their personal brand, but these are people who, for whatever reason, that brand isn't resonating with them, and maybe they don't know who to call. So that's kind of the gap that we fill, so they have someone to call next time.
But you guys, nationwide, but I think everybody's kind of, since COVID happened, most people are virtual at your company. So how does it work? 350 firms you're servicing, 30,000 calls a week. By the way, that's insane.
That's insane.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I was a younger lawyer, I tried some of these different advertising companies, and I just, I don't know if it was the way it worked then or whatever, but I didn't really seem to get any really good return for my money on what I was doing, so I never did it again. I tried several of these kind of referral companies. It didn't work for me, but I know lots of lawyers it's worked.
That's all they do. I mean, I know a lot of lawyers that are friends with built their entire practices off working with your company. But what are they? I mean, you guys have different brands, right?
Yeah.
So it's Walker, 1-800.
Los Defensores is our most well-known brand. Yeah.
So Los Defensores, because Marion was passionate about helping the underserved Hispanic community. But Walker, I mean, we're going to get to your story, but just briefly touch on that Walker story. Both 40 years old, from 1984 all the way up into the present. Kind of how does that workflow go through, early 80s to 90s? I mean, he was the 90s, and he just talks about how fucking great it was. All I hear about is the 90s was amazing.
90s was the best time of my life for sure. 90s was awesome.
Yeah, whatever.
Best music, best everything. No fucking internet or no in social media.
No air tags.
You could
where
do whatever
been.
the fuck you want. No one knew shit. I could say anything I wanted. No one would. You know what I mean? It was a fucking great time to be a fucking raving lunatic like I am. Now I really have to tone it down.
Yeah.
Because everyone will hear about what I said now. I gotta keep quiet. I gotta keep quiet. But in the 90s, you could do and say whatever the fuck you wanted. It was great.
Yeah, but you guys, I mean, Walker, you dominated billboards, television. I mean, how's that transition over 40 years? Because you got to be malleable. It's got to be different.
Just the media consumption has changed so much. So, at one point it was 100%, radio and TV, because that's where the eyeballs and ears were. And then as, consumer habits change, we adapt. And, as more people are online, we want to make sure our ads are seen in front of them online, in addition to, TV or whatever else they're consuming. So it's really just following the eyeballs. So as people change, we try to adapt and make sure that they still have means to contact an attorney.